Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to another episode of the Akebulan Awakening series. My name, as always, is Oladele Dosumo. I'm the co-founder of Emerging Akebulan. We are about decolonizing the minds and awakening the consciousness of our Akebulan brothers and sisters on the continent and in the diaspora. Underco.
Yes, I was trying to find this message I got from a Zulu brother. The name is Nduko, and I recently found out apparently my name in Zulu is a type of weapon used to subdue the enemy. So,
Wow,
yeah.
wow, wow. What an
So,
introduction.
I know, right? So, I am the host on Kumbukeni, joining my brother to counter the false narrative that Western media has propagated about Africans and Africa for way too long, reclaiming our narrative. Asante, good to be here.
Okay, we'll let our guest introduce himself, and then basically he's going to talk about stuff. As you can see, the slides are already there, ready to go. So, Josiah, introduce yourself to our guests, let them know who you are, and we'll let you
Oh,
go with the presentation.
all right. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here, Oladele and Nduku. I really appreciate that time. My name is Josiah Umezurike. My native name is Wateze, and my native tongue is pretty much mean the same thing as Josiah. Today, I will introduce myself. I'm a serial entrepreneur, or what you call someone that jumps without looking at what is at the bottom of it. I've been able to build a whole lot of software in this space. I specialize in cybersecurity, and I have over 10 years experience in software development. I actually built an edtech nonprofit organization called Each1Teach1 Tech, which we will talk a lot more about a little later on. But today, my focus is pretty much to help Akebulan to to decolonize the thought process and mental process of our group of people, especially those in the diaspora, and then trickling down to the continent itself. So that is who I am, and I will pretty much besiege your full attention as we go through the discourse.
Brilliant. Okay, the floor is yours, bro. Want to take it away, sir?
All right. Again, we'll talk about artificial intelligence, and we'll talk about cybersecurity education. You can't talk about one without the other. So the keyword will be empowering. So we have our ethos as empowering the underserved communities. We know that technology has become a level playing field, and we hear a lot of people talk about artificial intelligence. And I happen to understand artificial intelligence and be able to make that connection between artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. Now, to move forward, let's talk about artificial intelligence just a bit, what it means. So, artificial intelligence is pretty much application that allows us to give tasks to machines or computers. We allow them to do tasks that will require human intelligence. And to do that, we have to train them, teach them things in a logical sense, which most of the time requires sampling of um, data sets are used to give them the intelligence that they need, which means we sample all these things to them, they learn them. Instead of us writing a whole bunch of code to do the task, we basically develop a complex or models that will allow the computers to do the rest. So we see it in letter writing, we see it in ChatGPT where we can use it as text and get output as text or any format that we wanted them to be in. So that's artificial intelligence for you. Machine learning itself, you hear that word a lot of times. Machine learning will address basically the training that you how you use those knowledge algorithms and instructions in a logical pattern to train devices. When you engage in doing that training of the devices, we call it machine learning. And there's also deep learning, which involves developing those algorithms, different forms of it. More especially when you are using neural network, which is how things are distributed in nature itself. When you're using neural network, which emulates the brain, and it has activation factors that allows you to carry on in the circuits of the neurons. So when you talk about deep learning, always remember it's a combination of machine learning as well. It is more involved than regular machine learning that could focus on a particular task. Okay. So I'm saying all these things so that I can remove the doubt in your mind or the confusion as we go along to talk about these things. I want you to understand that our focus will be on how to leverage the opportunity that exists wherein the meltdown that happened all across the globe, UK, US, with the CrowdStrike cybersecurity attack that brought down all the operating systems that were using Microsoft as their foothold in accessing or utilizing computation. So we saw 911 operators were able to operate. We saw airlines, we saw schools, they all went down. And one of the things that was discovered all through is the fact that the increase of the use of artificial intelligence uh, is basically. Can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? I got a text message that I couldn't be heard.
We can hear you.
All right, moving forward. I
Yeah.
just got a
Oladile, you're
message that
muted. Yeah.
yeah, I got a message that I couldn't be heard. I'm sorry about that. So moving forward, so I wanted to make this very clear that we have a window of opportunity to operate to get our people engaged so that they can learn the skills that they need to remain gainfully employed. And you can't talk about cybersecurity without talking about AI because the increase in the use of of artificial intelligence have caused what we call increased frequency in cyber attacks. So let's move forward with the points that we've made so far. Now, when you talk about artificial intelligence, you're basically bringing everything down to what we know as foundational models. In foundational models, you're dealing with text and text-looking characters, and it's these text and text-looking characters that have the ability to empower the application of what we know today as artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence, how does it affect how is this important to African languages? How? So, what is the connection? So, we talk about cybersecurity, artificial intelligence. Now, let's talk about artificial intelligence from the perspective of our culture, wherein the language is also a part of the culture. What defines a language is the people that speak them, and every language has components. And these components are broken down into alphabets, but for people with deeper understanding knew that these alphabets are characters written down to represent sounds. Okay? So when we speak these languages, we get sounds, and each one is different from the other. They are a reflection of frequencies in the spectrum, whether it's visible light or anything like that. So for us, it is important because of diversity. Africa has multitude of languages that are spoken in it. And we shouldn't look at this as a problem. Diversity brings strength, and the unity that could be found in diversity is a challenge, but it's achievable, especially when you have technology working for you. Now, there are translation challenges. We have me, I speak Igbo, I hear a little bit of Yoruba, and I speak English. And then I meet someone else like me that does the same thing as me as far as language is concerned, I don't have a problem. And then I meet Nduku probably don't speak English. Or maybe let's say Olade, I meet Olade speaks only Yoruba and Hausa. So what do we do now? We have to go find someone, right, that speaks all the languages that I speak, at least three of them, and then speak all the languages that Oladele speaks Hausa and English. That way we can talk. But in the age of computers, artificial intelligence, all this technology, that's no longer necessary. We don't need a third party, especially a third party language that doesn't originate from the continent, to be able to transmit our language because we lose value. That's where translation challenges comes in. So with artificial intelligence, we can now affix our language, create new words, and predict how the languages are spoken all across the board. We don't need French, English, Portuguese, Spanish to translate to our brothers and sisters in the continent. It's not needed anymore. I'll go ahead and show a lot more on that with a diagram that I have. So that's the translation challenges. Then the AI solution is leveraging the machine learning. So to leverage the machine learning, we're looking at the structure of our language. The structure of our language is simple. Is vowel, consonant, vowel. Sometimes you have double consonant sometimes, and other times you have consonant. You have consonant, vowel, vowel. There's different structure, but you need to understand how they work. There is no African word that can exist by itself except for the vowels and double vowels, and they make sense. There's no African word that can be like, you say you have cha, ch, ch. It doesn't make sense on its own. Ch cannot make sense. You need a vowel for it to make sense. You see, in my language, if you want it to make sense, say you put an E, which is an I in English, it becomes chi. Chi is the superpower. Your natural superpower, the one that you connect to your spiritual self, is the chi, which the Chinese also call chi. So that's how our words make sense. So we've learned that, we mastered that over the years, and we realized that this is something that we should make it known to everyone. So machine learning derived from a deep learning which mimics the way the brain works is called neural network. So you have a deep learning that's based on neural network, and you have all these words that are activated by vowels. That's how they make sense. And all these words, when you break it down to the morphemes are the smallest possible part of a word that you can have without further breaking it down. Once you get that, these are the representation of the frequencies in the spectrum. So that simply means anything you can speak of or have said, will say, is already in the spectrum. You're not creating anything new. But we are shooting ourselves in the foot by chasing the other group in their worldview, not knowing that we already have everything within us. We just have to translate it to the physical world in a sense that in a way that is sustainable as opposed to destroying the Mother Earth itself. So our cultural preservation comes in now. The word used is destroying the Mother Earth. But if we want to preserve that, we have to be in tune with Mother Earth. That's why we must understand that the meaning of our words are already in the sounds that we make with the language that we speak. We don't need someone to tell us because the word itself has the meaning in it. If we understand the root, remember we are the original people. We've been here millions of years. So you learn by the learning what our ancestors did. They learned by experience, and they were exposed to the superpower, the power there is, and they were connected to the energy of the cosmic energy. So they have a deeper understanding. So there is wisdom in their way of life, and we cannot remove that. Chasing other groups does not allow us to capture those wisdom that will allow us to bust out and become who we want them to be and
Wow.
become the desired people we must become. Because once you look deep inside of yourself and you capture who you are, and you can use that to become the optimized version of you, become evolved. So when you look at the world, the information around the world, the most linguistically diverse countries, you can see Africa shows up there, especially Nigeria shows up there. And even we are more diverse than India. Are you guys aware of that?
Yeah.
We're more diverse in spoke language than India.
Yep.
Some part of India speak in a dialect. Like there's a part of Cameroon that you can go to. The way they speak, and most of the time the meaning of those words are the same in part of southern India. They're the same. You can Google this and check it. I forgot the name, but you can Google and check. You get what I'm where I'm coming from. So now, when you look at the open source approach, it has to be the only way for us to advance our language with support of our culture. It is important to understand that language is the power, the source of technology and anything else that you could ever imagine. Today, AI is thriving because they know that text represents the language, the sound. They use this text to come up with ways to automate tasks and make life easy for many of us.
Mm.
So therefore, it is imperative that we understand the importance of this, and therefore we have to support and call all our individuals who are intelligent enough to keep the knowledge of the ancestors and to support the effort to make this accessible so that Africa could be a part of the industrialization in this age where the world reshapes itself. As the world reshapes itself and cuts over into the digital age, we have to use what we know best and have a knowledge of to reinvent ourselves. We've done this enough times that we can reinvent ourselves to a language and make this accessible, make our individuals, our people in the continent to be a part of the economy of artificial intelligence without us wasting too much time in chasing the dreams is not ours. We have to chase our dreams. We have to come from inside
Yep.
to solve our problems.
Yep.
We have to keep the integrity in our culture. I'm not an Igbo person. I am a Yoruba person. I'm a Kosan. I'm a Tui person, Lua person, all of that, because I can see myself in everyone. I can see how we're all interwoven, how we're all doing the same thing in our
Yep.
little way. I can see we originate from the same, the same tree, different branches, the
Yeah.
same tree
Yep.
in everything, in the spiritual sense as well. So this will allow Africa to have a technological sovereignty. We've seen other countries in the world that have such sovereignty where they control what comes in and goes out of their country. If we control, I have a knowledge of our spoken languages and can translate, I can talk to Duku all day. I don't have to speak what she speaks. If we reach that level, then we have a technological sovereignty. We can protect the knowledge, the information, the data from our continental masses. And when you are in a digital age, data is the new gold. You've heard people say this all the time.
Yeah.
So you can use that new gold to be able to generate some kind of income. So this is a diagram that I use to show people. Maybe I should have had it at the top level, but I was instructed to put it here. So I put it here. So if you look at the diagram there, it's simply showing that I speak Igbo and English, and I met someone else that speak Igbo and English, and he said, "Go, we can talk, right?" But notice that, and now I'm meeting someone else who speak Yoruba and Hausa. How can I talk to that person when I don't speak Yoruba and I don't speak Hausa? The challenge is that today, like you said, when you go to Google, you notice that Google is translating from a different language to the native African tongue, and it doesn't make sense. It's hallucinogenic. It's
Mm.
hallucinogenic. It's like they took some weed and they become hallucinogenic when they're giving you what they mean. So I saw that and I was like, something has to be done. So what we decided to do is to come up with an algorithm which we finalized the work. We've come up with that algorithm and we worked on it and it's perfect. So our AI now will now understand all African languages and then it will do the translation from Africa to Africa, not from Africa to Europe and back to Africa.
Mm.
By doing so, we lose value twice.
Yeah.
Okay, you lose value by the European language trying to understand one African language, and then you lose value again by when the European language is now trying to move it to a different language, which in this case could be either Yoruba or Hausa or Lua. So we're losing values. So there's no technological sovereignty, there's no cultural preservation and integrity as well. So we can change the narrative by doing that. So if you check that QR code there, it will take you straight to the open source community where you can join in. It doesn't matter if you have the right skill or not, but we just need people to be aware of the challenge that exists. Okay, I have this thing that I say, you cannot build something you cannot defend. What do I mean by that? You can't build a system you cannot defend. So in war, there's a saying that this place is easy to attack, but it's very difficult to defend.
Yep.
So in my case, I say, okay, artificial intelligence is easy to go in and do and create all this stuff, but how do you defend this?
Mm. Good
To
question.
defend it, you gotta have some deep understanding of security, and that's where I come in. The question is, how can this possibly be done? Yes, one person can have the idea, the knowledge, the key skill sets, but when you are building a structural project, in a structural project, especially language, it can't be one person to build that. It will be so considered and so confusing and so misaligned for one person to build a language that many people will speak. So therefore, in that sense, we want to educate and create awareness amongst our people to embrace AI first of all. Embracing the AI will allow us to do what? It will preserve who we are as far as the language we speak, and it will help Africa to grow, to the African languages and culture to come up. It is important for us to do this. And now, the in developing the skills, we also have an engine for developing the skill set that's needed as far as protecting what we call the privacy and also protecting as well as the data as well, security that is involved in what is being used to kind of give the machine the ability to solve a lot of problems. So we have an area there. We have ability to provide the skill set that's needed in that space, which is also cybersecurity oriented. These are programs that we already formulated over the years. As a matter of fact, the program that we formulated is a part of registered apprenticeship program in the US as we speak. So United States Department of Labor is a part of it. We tendered our curriculum to them and they accepted it because they are pushing money into the narrative of bringing the underserved communities up because we are under attack here. A lot of people are not aware that World War III is already going on, but it's a cyber warfare. Okay, so it's already going on. What we are looking at as we speak is the collaboration amongst our people, those who understand the gatekeepers, who understand what needed done, and want to do it as legal as possible in the most seamless fashion, connecting with the right individuals. So innovation is big for us. We want to create sustainable solutions that will take that will have our fingerprint in what we created. Basically, we want to use what have been left to us by our ancestors. We want to use that to create a world in our own image where everyone will be included. And then they say charity begins at home. And then those who are at home and those who are the diaspora should be able to benefit from this. So we call on all of them to join us as we move forward. We've talked about artificial intelligence. Why is it so important? Why is it married to cybersecurity? Artificial intelligence has made it possible for cyber attacks to increase. There's an increment in cyber attack, especially phishing, to 1,000% from what we know it to be. So it's telling us that there's going to be more of this, and that opens an opportunity for a group of people. And that is why Each1Teach1 Tech is here to support this effort. We provide the tools and resources needed by the underserved communities to remain gainfully employed in STEAM, especially AI, cybersecurity. Currently, we are pushing forward with cybersecurity because of these current challenges that we have right now. People that have gone through this program have gotten work and they're making six figures and they are blessed at this time. And there will be continuous hiring of individuals all across the world. So the beauty of what we provide is the fact that you can be a part of the program regardless of where you are. So there's also a short-term program that we have, which doesn't take 2.5, 2 years and 5 years for you to complete. The registered apprenticeship program takes 2 years and 5 years for anyone to complete it because it is for the race and that's for people in the US. But because we know our group of people are spread across the world, we need to find a way to reach out to them. So we developed the short-term programs, which I recommend for 6 months. For 6 months, you will be able to learn a lot, and that will allow you to get a job in cybersecurity as a security operations center analyst, level one. And within a year, you can go to level two, and you can expand and go to different areas. So these are some of the stuff that we brought, and we also have volunteer opportunities, which doesn't require any skill. If you are skilled, it's also much better because we are looking for the open source program, which will promote the African interest as far as using promoting our culture and making sure we retain preservation of our language and also cultural integrity. The volunteer opportunities opens door to individuals who have experiences in AI research, experience in infrastructure, operations, IT operations, information technology, infrastructure, uh, dev- development operations, sec development operations, and et cetera, linguists, ML, machine learning experts, and et cetera, et cetera. We are inviting these people to come in. Regardless, those who speak various different languages, are also African languages, are welcome to come in. And what we want to do is we want to build a common algorithm that traverses the knowledge, the central knowledge in the spoken African languages, how it actually is spoken, how it could be used to affix all other African ethnic languages, and how it could be used to create new words and predict how the language will be spoken in the future. Now, the overview of the 6 month cybersecurity program is here with us. The first 2 months, you pretty much will be onboarded, and will show you the rope, show you who has been in the program. We have a lot of media that you can use. We have a lot of social media you can be a part of: WhatsApp, Discord, Slack. These are part of places that you meet professionals, you meet mentors, and as well as we teach you what you're going to be doing. The foundation of IT, you'll be taught the foundation of IT, and then from there, you go into cybersecurity, which allows you to do monitoring, detection, incident response, and etc. We'll show you how to triage an incident and know what's more important, what you need to do. And there are other standard regulations that are compliances that you'll be taught moving forward. In the second month, I mean, in the third and fourth month, you will be exposed to the real world environment where you are looking at servers from local businesses in operation and see what the ground truth is. And you learn so much in this space. There's a bunch of standards, frameworks, cybersecurity workforce framework. You will learn that. And in the last second and the last month, which is the fifth and the sixth, you might have been able to cover over security operations center hours because you'll be provided access to the portals that we have, like Splunk, which is an SIEM security inventory and event management system, like Splunk, Wazoo. You will also have access to Jira, which is a software ticketing um, um, enterprise solution that we use. You also have access to network flow analyzer and firewalls like Palo Alto and etc. So there's so much stuff to talk about. We can't just talk about all of them right now.
Yeah.
And the benefit is awesome. The benefit you gain from learning this is plethora of opportunities. You'll be exposed to a bunch of them, whether if you want to write code, if you want to do specialize in artificial intelligence. But we promote more cybersecurity because we see that Africa can actually take over cybersecurity from either the Indians or the Chinese because of the number of youth that we have. And these youth have been exposed to technology for far too long, half of their lifetime, especially those who are 20 years old right now, being exposed to penetration power of the mobile devices. And what they can do with these devices is amazing. And both of you can bear witness to that. So we recognize that and we know that these skills are transferable. They can transfer those skills to cybersecurity and they will do very well. So you want Africa to be where people, when you call on the phone for cybersecurity issues, the phone will ring in Johannesburg or Ghana or Kenya or Nigeria. That's what you want. See where I'm coming from? So that phone rings there and they get their problem solved because wherever the energy goes is where it grows. And then the based on the market supply and demand, these are market powers, right? They fluctuate. So if there's a lot of supply, what happens to demand? Demand goes down. If there's a lot of demand, what happens to supply? Supply goes up,
Yeah.
right? So right now we see there's a lot of demand. So we want to provide that to put the balance in the market. So using the youths in the continent is the best bet, and using the youths in the diaspora who are from these alternative ideations is also a very a very important part of the puzzle. So there are practical skills you can gain in this space. Is multifunctional, multidiscipline. You can transfer it other places. There are industry recognition like third-party exams. I mean, vendor-neutral exams you can take that's recognized all across the world. And there's career support. We support you all through. Not only we augment your resume, you have each one teach one take your resume. You have it on LinkedIn profile, and that establishes you as a person with this kind of connection in the job pipeline with each one teach one tech. There's continuous learning. All these portals are provided to you, and you are welcome to the channels that we have continuously without an end, so to speak.
Brilliant.
So these are some of the benefits. Now, finally, we want to welcome you that is listening right now to do quite a few things. If you feel like you want to be a part of the program, you want to use the pink QR code, you scan it and go through the process, at least to learn what's on the website, and then you become a part of the program. And also, if you want to be a part of the Slack open source program that we're coming up with to enhance African language, make it possible for you not to go through Europe, then come back to your language. Then you have to use the light green QR code. It will take you to the Slack community. And then finally, you will have the book that we published. The reason for publishing this book is a self-help book. We want to encourage those dreamers in the far-flung corners of the world to understand that their dream is possible. It can happen. They can achieve these goals. So we have this book here, The Cyber Samurai, A Journey of Resilience and Mastery. In the book, we concocted a real life story where we marry cybersecurity with martial arts. And in that spirit, we know our youths are very interested in those kind of stuff. So we came up with this book, which is available in Amazon, The Cyber Samurai. You can go and check it, A Journey of Resilience and Mastery. And then that would always encourage you to give you the perspective. We also have a puzzle, first time in the world. This puzzle is come out and it hasn't been solved by any other person as a puzzle in this sense. And then we're using it to help our learners with their problem solving skill sets. So if you are interested in the book, I can provide it to you, the host. I don't know if I haven't already provided it to you so you guys can enjoy it because
Yeah, you
that's
go.
the fruit that's the fruit of your labor. You don't have to buy it from me. But every other person need to go check it out because we make it it's a fundamental book that we use for the program to encourage you and help you. The book is basically seven chapters, and each chapter has African wise words or wise proverbs, and is woven, is interwoven into the book so that you can learn as it's very difficult when you don't know anything. You're going from
Mm.
zero to hero, and the intertwine, the difference between not knowing and all of a sudden you're gonna learn a whole lot of stuff. You're gonna need a mentor. You're gonna need an instructor to guide you through the process. 'Cause it's very difficult sometimes. So when you have a mentor, the book is just like that mentor. When the mentor is not there with you, you take that book, it inspires you and it gives you a direction to move forward.
Thank you, Josiah. Thank you very much for that. Unduku, let's start with you.
Oh, goodness. So you mentioned that there's an increased frequency as a result of increased use of AI. And I know with my limited understanding of AI and technology in this way that you're speaking, um, someone had mentioned that this frequency affects our ecosystem negatively. So the bees, the birds, and all that. So this increased frequency as a result of the AI, could you please talk about it and how does it affect our ecosystem?
So it affects our ecosystem in many ways. First, let's go from a digital perspective so that the people that are into computer will understand. And then we go on the other end. So in the digital perspective, the AI removes the sophistication that you need to breach a system, to hack into a system.
Yes.
It removes that sophistication. That means you, Nduku, can go to ChatGPT and gain instruction if you know what you're doing on how to attack the system. So that's number one. So the AI made it possible for us to shoot ourselves in the foot, right?
Yeah.
The same technology that we created to defend is now being hacked within the same using AI that we also created.
That
Now,
the Wazungu created, not we, because we is different. The Wazungu created. So the
actually,
the Wazungu keep shooting
you're right.
themselves in the foot.
You're right. You're right. So what I meant to say is the algorithms for the application of those tasks that we want to automate, the leading algorithms, which they call foundational models, those things they created it in their own language and the way they see the world, and they did not include us. We were not included in it. It was not responsible enough to write the true
Hmm.
narrative of who we are. It don't, if you ask ChatGPT about any black person, it's not going to give you valid information.
And that's why they only give you that white voice. You're talking about Africa and it's rah, rah, like
Exactly. So that's the. I think you made a very point there. So another way that the AI affects us is AI consumes a lot of electricity. It requires a lot of computing power to do what it does. But if you do AI based on knowledge of African wisdom and
mhm.
technology. Like I just explained to you how the meaning of the word are in your language. So you don't need to unravel the whole computer world searching for data sets to use to do X, Y, Z. So understanding the nature of the spoken words, which are now transcribed into characters that are represented as characters, it's just like in music. To write a music, you gotta understand the musical notes.
Yes.
Once you understand the musical notes, you know how to use them. You put them together as notes and chords. Notes and chords, depending on the instrument that you're using. Some instruments we go 4 chords, 5 chords. Some we go all the 7 notes, like
Mhm.
piano. So each of them is distinct, but they can also perform all the other strings in their unique ways. But the other group of people are not aware of this knowledge. They see things in a natural way. They see things in an unnatural way.
Yeah.
So if you tell a story of Tower of Babel, you tell us the story of Tower of Babel, and your mind is not telling you that the story of Tower of Babel in your AI, when you are building your AI, you should use the integration of that to build your AI and include other people, but you didn't. You want other people to translate their own language. So that tells us that their language is not a part of the naturally occurring languages they are made up.
Mm.
So it will be hard to get the meaning that we wanted out of it. So the AI, artificial intelligence, requires a lot of power from GPUs. GPUs are expensive. They continue to perpetuate the suffering of people in Dr. Congo because some of this stuff are coming from there, and they use all these things to build this out. What we are talking about now, yes, AI is good, but there are consequences when it's not done the right way, in a way that makes the earth, I mean, makes it sustainable and protects and preserves the earth itself. Because we are living beings where people, like, we can't live on a dead planet or any dead things. So we have to understand that what we live on is also alive just like us.
Yeah.
So I have demonstrated and showed you how the increased frequency affects in virtual world. Now, if you have to use a lot of electricity, that means you have a lot of carbon footprint. If you have a lot of carbon footprint, it affects the weather. It does affect the weather. That's how
The increased storms, the increased earthquakes, the increased
all of
everything.
that. Yes. So that's what is doing. And I know they're uncomfortable when people with a lot of knowledge talk about this way. But I have to share that with you guys because I know that to be true. I cannot withhold it and lie over it. So
I'm glad you're
that's
sharing it because
yes.
that's the point of being here. The thing I fear about technology and these wazungus is that they always talk about, oh, we have discovered this, it's the new thing, but they never tell you what the downside is. So that you can make a choice and say, you know what, given the negatives that are very much exceeding the positives, this is not a move we should take as humanity. So the other question, so that our audience can understand, because even I don't understand, what's DPU?
What's DPU?
Yes,
Well, it's just like you have central processing unit. There's data processing unit.
data processing unit. Okay.
So there's also language processing unit (LPU). So they're coming up with this newer technology. So what I meant to say was GPU. Okay.
GPU.
Yeah,
And what's that?
it's just graphic processing unit.
Graphic processing.
Graphic processing unit.
Okay.
But with the graphic processing unit, it has a lot of it consumes a lot of energy, but it can do computation faster than ever. It can do streamlined computation with respect to artificial intelligence, as opposed to your central processing unit, which doesn't have, it's not designed to compute words in this sense, where a lot of memory is used.
Yeah.
But now they are developing all these new ways where a lot of memory is used, but that's a lot of electricity. They're not telling you that. But those who have are concerned about the planet will find other ways to create things. Okay. A lot of people ask the question, why is it that Africa didn't create a lot of weapons? Because Africa did not believe in that, because they believe that they are part of the earth. So they're not going to create anything that will kill other people en masse
Harmful.
and also attack the earth itself. So that's why we don't have uh, we didn't continue retaining those kind of knowledge that cause mass
Oh.
destruction
Mm.
at this scale.
I'm I'm glad you're saying it that way, because we as Africans who've been taught for centuries, and we had it Oladele, I'm telling you, nothing is a coincidence. The fact that we had Mama Kanyisile this morning, right
Yeah.
before this,
Yeah.
is perfect. Like, it's
Yep.
just divine. She said for 800 years we have been sold the story that we are a nothing, we are not like, we don't develop anything, we are inferior, and they are the ones who are helping us, literally, right? They have brought civilization to us. But what it appears to be is that we are the intelligent people, because we are very intentional about how we develop. We don't just
Absolutely.
take anything that comes, because we realize the ultimate goal is to maintain the health of the ecosystem, which we are a part of. And therefore, I'm saying I agree, and we can continue the conversation. I agree with everything that you said. It would be nice. It feels to me, in these most recent technological advancement that we've had in the last 20 years, it's an accommodation of our mental laziness that is detrimental to our whole wellness. So we have been literally advancing to accommodate laziness.
Yes, yes, that's one of the these. That's an argument, which is also arguable. However, if you look at the AI as a tool, then you should not be accommodating laziness, in the sense that you can use AI to build practical things in which you can insert labor to action. You can also use it to build practical things that removes you expanding in entropy, completely removed. So it's up to you what you want to use it for. For instance, for me, I want to build an application that allows children to learn how to get home if they get lost in the bush or in the boonies.
But what if there's no home to get to because the AI increased storms and the storms have destroyed home?
Well, that's where we come in. So the area we come in is very, very specific, where we understand that the population like Africa, India, China, if we follow the path that's already established in large language models, which means we'll be consuming a lot of electric power for low resource languages, we are identified as low resource languages because we don't have a lot of information on the internet. The internet was developed by the United States, and the language predominantly used is English,
Can I?
French, and all those
I, I
languages.
don't. I don't want to throw you off your thought. I don't want to throw you off your thought.
Go ahead.
But that term you just used there. Let's break that down. Low resource languages.
Yeah, that's what they called it.
Exactly.
Then I will explain to you why they call it that.
Thank you.
So the reason why it's called low resource languages, and we also support the language, is because they develop large language models. So what is large language models? You should be asking that question.
I'm
Okay.
waiting.
Large language models are models which means they are instruction codes that are written down using text and text looking characters as the foundations. I'll give you the example. English has 26 alphabets. You use the 26 alphabets. Out of these 26 alphabets, eight of them are vowels, right? Eight of them are vowels. Is it? No, six of them are vowels out of the 26. So
Yes.
they use them to form what we call foundational models. That basically saying, hey, machine or computer,
Five are vowels. A, E,
five
I, O.
vowels, okay,
Mhm.
A-E-I-O-U and all that. So they say, computer, this is the component of our spoken language. We need to learn it and understand it. And then they use something called, uh, uh, okay, the initial stage, they have something called, way before tokenization, they have what they call data sets.
Mhm. Mhm.
You have the data sets. Okay, the computer, how can the computer understand the data set? It has to know the components of the data set. That's the alphabet. So we just gave him the alphabet. Okay,
Which
so
is the
now
large
once,
language models.
which is the beginning of the large language models, the beginning, how we are training the computer to understand the large language models. So once we give them the alphabet, then we start doing what? We tokenize the alphabet because we gotta break them down in n-grams. We wanna give it, make the computer understand how we speak the language, how it makes sense to us. So for English, you have to break it down into subject, object, and verb. Subject, object, and verb. So what's the smallest English word that you can have? They are found in n-grams. I mean, after the alphabet, you can have and, which is a
I.
trigram.
I.
I is basically just the alphabet. Let's just consider the alphabet. But
Mhm.
you have an, an. You have is. These are bigrams. So you start training the computer to understand the bigrams, the
And
trigrams, all
and
that.
and therefore, given what you're explaining, because it is their foundation, their alphabet that they use to
There you
create,
go. Now you understand why
it
we're
is
losing.
right. It is their alphabet that they used to create this virtual communication system, and
That's
therefore,
right.
we truly do not have an African virtual communication system.
No, we don't.
The
But
Chinese, the Chinese have a Chinese virtual
That's what this is
communication
where I
system.
was going. So thank
Thank
you,
you.
Zuku.
so now, with that being said, that isn't that why we're calling on people like you guys to understand what the challenge is? Even the alphabet we use originally is Roman alphabets, is
Mm,
Romanized. Now, what we need to do is to take those knowledge in Romanized languages and go back to our own language, which is character, more like character, Chinese characters. So for me, I formulated some numbers, but there are other group that formulated the other characters. They call it Akago, and there's another group that formulated another character that's called Ndebe. There's
Yes.
Ndebe, there's Akago. But what I found amongst this group is they are not willing to work together.
mm,
Like I'm willing to work together. I have the number system that I developed, so I shared it with them because that's not my forte. But I only
Yep.
have the foresight to develop the number system, and I forwarded it to them, and I said, "You need this number system because this number system makes sense. You can count from one to any number, and it's very conservative. It doesn't take too much space." And you can add them together and all that kind of stuff. So the challenge we have as a group of people is to have a lot of us that are awakened to work together, makes
mm,
things easy. Because when I was working with Microsoft, right, the first thing they asked me is, "What script are you going to be using?" Because Microsoft gave us $150,000 in infrastructure to build these things I'm talking about. And the first thing they asked me, have you identified a script to use? Now I went out to talk to the African people in this space. To work with them is very difficult to work with them. They don't want to. They want to monetize language. I said no. You cannot monetize language. But what you can monetize is the product that you created using the language.
mm,
You cannot. They don't understand. I said it has to be open source, and I can help you guys with my company to provide the resources to do this. All I ask from you guys to get this, bring your skills. I have the algorithm and the knowledge to build this. I can offer that out of my time. But it seems to me that they don't get it because they are looking to become the next Bill Gates and all of that. And I said, no, 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 no. If that's what you have in mind, you will not have this knowledge. It will not be given to you.
It goes back to that inferiority complex we have, that seeing
There you
ourselves as
go.
lesser, and that need to be the exceptional Negro that is accepted by whiteness.
Yeah.
And listen, they're not going to be exceptional if you're sitting with them, Josiah. They're not, like, exceptional goes away once Josiah walks in the room.
Actually, when Josiah walks in the room, it doesn't matter who's in the room, they recognize the light that comes in, that there's a light in this
Whoa.
room. It doesn't matter. I don't believe in capitalistic exchange and monetary system because I know it's created by human abstraction. It does not hold true value. True value is held here.
Wow. I
And
It
love
does
that.
not hold true value. You
see, I
cannot
you
help humanity when you want to have all the money in the bank, and the bank is not permanent. Bank
I
devalues, is destroyed. The value goes down over time. When
I am
system
an
changes, it changes.
it you
So
you're
go ahead.
feeding my spirit. I am an anti-capitalist existing in capitalism, so you're feeding my spirit as you speak
So
right
so
now.
so capitalism, the way I see it, I cannot say that I'm against I'm against capitalism. This is what I will tell you that I'm against. I'm against any system that is not sustainable, that recognizes a ruling group of 0.1% that controls the World Financial Corporation. That's what I'm against. Capitalism is not a part of Adam Smith's ideology of that the nation will prosper when individual citizens of the nation trade amongst themselves. Capitalism is the crooks that develop capitalism. The capitalism that you talk about is the one that we are talking about here right now, is the system that taught people that if I give you a colored paper, you give me your resources and I get nothing more. But I take your resources and I use it to create other packaged finished goods, and then I give it back to you while you use your resources again for my benefit. And it doesn't have the earth and everything like that. These are the capitalistic instincts that I hate, that I do not preach for, and I have no inkling to support that. So what I will recommend is a system where it's free enterprise, where the the market indicators are working effectively without human influence in it, where you have the demand and supply market forces are working without humans influencing it, whether it's through social media they are influencing it, or whether through lobbying they are influencing it, or whether it's through
I have
hoarding
so many questions because as
or
you speak,
hoarding the product. They also influence the
Yeah.
supply and
But
demand through hoarding the product. That's what capitalism
who's
is all
creating
about.
them? Who's creating the market influencer? What biases do they have?
and
So they have
Josiah,
they have narratives. They have already have their narratives which they promote through their news media.
Oladele, let me
That's
mute you.
already
Take over.
no, no, no. Because of technology, I'm not really that technical. So, but it's But my question is basically is they all the parameters that you're referring to, they control everything.
yes. That's the
So they control
problem.
everything. So how if so you're trying to play capitalism and you're using the same system and structure. So how are we different?
You can't use the same system and structure. This is what you do. You build a system inside their system.
Oh, so here goes that. So I am a
You
brilliant
build a system
linguist.
inside their system. So
Here,
when
here.
you build a system inside their system, you're gonna prosper. Because if you become a camouflage in their system, but you are obeying all the rules and principles in that system. But if you build a system that's completely looking different, you're gonna have a lot of challenges.
But prosper at what risk?
Well, let me explain it to you. You see, when you are trying to work with a system that is very powerful, or let me rephrase it, when you want to hide in a kingdom, the best place to hide is the palace, because nobody searches the palace.
But soon
So
enough, they gonna recognize your black
it
behind
doesn't
because you
matter.
stand out.
You will be far ahead before they recognize. Trust me, you will be far ahead.
But the
So
point is, they will recognize and destroy what you've spent years to build instead of building
no,
outside of the
no, they
system.
can't. They can't because you duplicated yourself. You designated people who don't even live here. Like Oladele is in UK. He operates in Africa. Why is he doing that? He operates in Africa because the knowledge he has, there are other people there that he duplicated himself in. If anything happens to him, the knowledge is
But
there.
Josiah, can I ask why can't we build our own Afrocentric systems
Exactly.
away from the hegemonic systems? Why
With
can
our
Africa
own
actually build our
alphabet.
own?
Okay, that's why we're talking today. I'm
Yes.
saying that we can build all of that stuff because we have a tool now that allows us to build it.
Mm.
Unlike 10, 20 years back, we couldn't. But now we have this AI, which they are supporting and promoting. And then we have security systems, which I developed, cybersecurity system that I developed. You can build that because you can actually defend what you build. But in the past you couldn't because all the all the infrastructures that you're gonna use is going through the system.
Okay.
Now, if you build those infrastructure today, you can defend them even if it goes through the system because there's a cybersecurity solution that allows you to do encryption with the system doesn't understand. And now with the AI, you can now modify, affix your language, predict, and also create new words in your language, which gives you an advantage because of the population in the continent, which brings all these people in the continent to the digital era.
Hello,
You
your
see?
son's behind you.
So,
Someone
so
is nosy. Hi, how are you?
you can get it. Go get it. So what's going? He's very nosy. So
I,
so
I don't blame him.
what we are saying is that it is possible to do it now, and to be successful in doing it. This is the right time because the other group are pushing for sustainable knowledge. They are
I'm
pushing for sustainable knowledge. They are putting money to make sure 2019 is the year of indigenous language. Do you remember? 2019. They proclaimed it the year of indigenous language. And within the UN titles, ask Deviana to give it to you. Within the UN, when you reference the UN title, or in their charter, I forgot the section of what it was. They said that the indigenous people have every right to expand in their knowledge of their language and promote it as indigenous people. That's what it says.
Well, thank them very much for giving us the permission to do that. We don't give a shit what they think. We will do it anyway. Like these white people are something else. Oh, you have the right to do this. Who asked you? Like what? Who told you we need your opinion on what we can do? I'm
So
sorry.
it's,
Let me
it's
leave you.
possible it's possible that we can develop a system in a system, and once we do that, then it will be useful for all, even those who oppose it will start to use it.
Yeah,
That's what I
because
noticed.
Josiah, this is basically why we do what we do. For me, I don't want to be part of the white man system. I want to see an Afrocentric system that stands on its own, and like I said, we can back it up. And this is the kind of
Yes,
journey. This is the
yes,
kind of journey that we need
I,
to
I agree.
embark on.
I agree with you, but you have to understand who we are. It's not a
Mm.
lot of us out there. A lot of people are supporting a system that teach you voodoo economics. What do I mean by voodoo economics? It tells you that it's okay to print money, colored paper, and give to someone, and then you call those people poor when you take their resources. When you look at this, it doesn't make sense. What
Yeah.
kind of economics is that? So it's not a lot of us, but these individuals with PhD from these institutions are protecting those PhD.
The gatekeepers.
I was,
Exactly.
I,
So
I was
that's the problem. So people like us have to tread carefully because while we are trying to make sure that Africa retains its integrity and retains its position in the world, there are people in amongst us that will also fight us and
Yeah,
say
sabotage.
that the ways of our ancestors are not valid. While in fact I know the ways of our ancestors is much better than what we are being given right now. The system that we have right now is not sustainable. It's killing us. In Africa,
yes.
we have people having cancer. Women are not having children like they used to. It's not
Mm.
easy for them to have them anymore. All
Yep.
that stuff. I know what is happening.
Yeah.
All the crops in Africa is being exchanged for
Yep.
the varieties, which are
Yep.
I'm
GMOs.
glad you brought that up because that frequency you talked about, which is increased
Yes,
by AI, also brings about cancer.
exactly. So whichever way you look at it, the phones you use, depending on where you put the phone. I don't sleep with my phone. I leave it downstairs and I go upstairs. I have minimal interaction with my phone, even though I work with computers. I make sure I go into the forest. I walk barefooted so I can be electrified. I get grounded on the earth. So these are many things that I learned from my ancestors, and I know they work. That's what I practice. But a lot of our people are taking religion to a different level and forgetting who they are, and that is causing them in many ways.
So we have I was rereading to a group of people. And for those of you who are listening, by the way, I will be beginning some political, civic, and social awareness lessons on Twitter this Friday. It will either be under Kumbukeni or a Kenyan movement. We will announce it before that day. But um, I was reading the Kenya freedom struggle, the Dead and Kimathi papers written by Kenyati. And in there, it says that the Kenya Land and Freedom Army, otherwise known as the Mau Mau, started as
Oh, Mau.
300 warriors only. 300 warriors only. And you saw the hell they gave the British. So we underestimate our will. We should not be discouraged by our numbers as long as we have. And again, I was talking to Brother Oladile this morning. Chancellor Williams, in his book, The Destruction of Black Civilization, says that revolution will be started by one person.
Yes, of
So
course.
he is
But
telling
the
us,
people are not.
let's take that 10 and
Yeah.
stop accommodating the Mzungu system and put that energy and time that we don't have the luxury and we don't have a preponderance of, to put towards something that will actually give us a future that we can stand on.
Mm.
So if you're telling me that AI is destroying the ecosystem, the birds are dying, the bees are dying, there's increased weather, harsh weather. If you're telling me that AI is causing increased cancer and we see what cancer does, why the hell are we signing up?
So you are not signing up to large language model. You are signing up to low resource language model, which doesn't need all these expensive GPUs to operate.
Okay.
That's what you're signing up. I came up with the solution. And I'm calling our group of people. I don't care if you have PhD from Stanford. There's a better way
Yeah.
to
Does it re-
accommodate.
does it reduce the frequency?
It does not impact any damage to what is already done. It's not going to require a lot more energy anymore. It's just like regularly using your computer to generate all these languages that you need to speak of. That's what it is. It's not going to require you to buy a big old data center and all of that, which is what they are building right now. They are investing in data centers. They want to control the way people speak their languages, and they are on a journey to do that.
I'm glad you said that because that was my other thing. Like I was saying before, I am a linguist by practice, by experience, and I am doing this work of preserving our languages. So, why would I put my language in a Mzungu system where they want to control it and control how we speak
No,
and
they
how?
cannot. They cannot control if you form the algorithm by yourself, which is what we are doing. They have no control over that because that's not how they think. They will use it to make money, even. They don't think like that. So
You,
they
you,
think in
hold
large
up,
language model.
hold up right there. You're telling me the same Mzungu who thought about enslaving us, who thought about raping us, who thought about stealing us from our land and calling us animals, who uh, went to Namibia and tested our people so that they could get answers for different, God knows what they were scheming.
We're
Who's
scheming.
done? Who's done all this horrible stuff? Does not think in terms of destroying us.
No, they're thinking, well, all day they think in terms of destroying us. But what I'm trying to share with you is the low resource language model, the development, the algorithm we developed is not their mode of, it's not their cup of tea. They're not interested. They're not interested. They're not interested in whatever that will make African languages to be important. They're not interested in that.
Okay.
They're not interested in things that will preserve your culture. They're not interested in that. They are not interested in anything that will make African technology to have sovereignty.
So my
So
question then,
that's the weakness that
yeah.
they
So
have, and you
my
have to utilize that weakness.
my question then, because it seems I haven't yet understood what you have created, is for you to explain to us exactly. And you don't have to explain it here. It appears we need a closed session where you
Oh yeah,
explain,
there had to be a closed session.
yeah,
Everything
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
we
where, where you explain exactly what this language is, what the risks are, how it reduces the current risks, and how it benefits us. If
Absolutely.
it gives us some ninja powers, some Jedi strength, I'm good with it.
Of course, it
Yeah.
does give us ninja power because it reduces the computer, the power that you need in computation to derive some of the solution that you need. It reduces it drastically reduces that, and also it makes it possible for you to create new words without extra headache. You don't need to have extra headache to create new words, anything like that. So this is a more sustainable approach as opposed to what is being pushed out there. You don't have to get all your samples from the internet. The samples now will only come from humans who will write and supply the information, the right supply, instead of crawling the whole internet, which is the weakness that African language have because it's
Yeah.
not widely used in the internet. You see,
Mm.
see what's going on? So we studied, they call it large language model because if you have a hammer, everything becomes a nail. They have the money, the resources, they have technology that they have dreamt of that they want to utilize. So they're not thinking that maybe we should break down these languages into words, their morphemes, and
Mm.
use their morphemes to put them together, and then use people data sets, reinforcement learning, human feedback. But instead, they said, let's use synthetic data. They're using fake data.
Hmm.
So
So it is. It
that's
is.
what you
It's
have to know.
it's my responsibility, given that I am here moving forward in my life, to use my skills to serve my community. So it's my responsibility to ask you the hard questions, right? You're bringing a product and a service to the community, and therefore it is my responsibility to ask you the hard questions. The questions that most people don't tend to ask because they're uncomfortable or they're
Yeah.
too accommodating of this system. You say that Microsoft gave 150,000 to you as an investment. What did they require in return?
Well, basically, they didn't require anything in return. All they want is they promote businesses, but basically, me and you know is they try to see what you're doing so they can learn from it.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you. I'm glad you're
we're
saying
not
it.
gonna lie. We're not gonna lie and say this is never. But the system that we developed, they can't really figure anything out of it.
Mm.
They can try. They can try all they want. So it
And
is what it
therefore,
is.
that's the session we're going to have in closed session.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to be honest, given this threat, so I recently, in 2 months ago, I had a session. I don't know if you know Michael, who created OBT.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
I knew
two,
you were gonna bring. I knew you were
yeah,
gonna bring that up.
the two of you need to connect,
Yeah.
Josiah. You and Michael need to connect. And you know
What's
what?
OBT?
I'm not even going. You know what?
It's
It's our black truth,
yeah. I
which
think you need to. Yeah.
which the white folk have made him change to Sikona because they can't stand a
Oh.
company called Our Black Truth. Literally, this is what happens
Oh,
when these
really,
white
really,
folk listen.
really, the challenge there is this. I've spent over 1.2 million US dollars in my undertaking. This language thing is not the only thing that I do. I'm the guy that developed keyless encryption system. I have several patents. You can check it on Google.
I'm going to connect the two of you.
So I have several patents. When I was developing a killer system, they didn't know what that was. I had a problem explaining it to them because I was saying to them the reason why the hackers are successful is because you use a key-based system, and they're saying how can you do encryption without keys? I said that's not the question you should be asking. The question you should be asking is how are you doing encryption by how are you doing encryption by using the same message and putting the message and the key in the same envelope?
So can I ask you?
That's the question you should be asking. But I figured out a way for you to do it without even having to have a dedicated key store. You don't even have to move keys, reuse keys, and manage keys. You're saving millions of dollars. But because
Oladele,
Yes.
step in so that I don't like hog the conversation. But Josiah,
oh okay.
let me. No. I'm
It's
telling you
okay.
because
I think it's because you. It's this is above my. So you are asking the right question. I'm okay for you to carry on. That's fine.
Josiah,
Yeah.
why are we telling them these secrets? Why are we empowering them with this knowledge? Why don't we keep it to ourselves?
Mm.
Why even
Well,
present
well,
it to them?
well. When I have a knowledge, the knowledge from ancestors, there's a time of revelation. This is the time of revelation. There's nothing they can do about it. This is not the way they think. You can't tell someone who's built a castle. Let me share some deep secret knowledge of how the world works with you. A person who's built a castle is not going to tear down the castle to build a new one. It never happens. What happens is the castle will go on till a new ruler occupies the castle. That's how it works. So there's nothing anyone can do. The deed is done. There are a few people like me that have the knowledge that they have. They are doing their part. I'm doing their part. It just happened that you run into me and I share this with you. The biggest challenge we have, our group of people have, is the resources that they need to get what we need to do. Why do we have that problem? Because we live in a system that uses money. The system uses money. So there's a currency exchange system. It's called money, currency.
That's a challenge.
See? So that's a challenge. We don't print those. Because we don't print it, we don't have a lot of it. And the little that we have, the project we're doing requires a lot of millions. Some of us with a good heart that are self-sacrificing use their money to do it, but there's so much they can do.
And I am suspecting, given my understanding of economics, that the IMF has stopped us from printing them. And
Yeah,
the World Bank.
generally, in the United States, they have printed a lot of money, and if your country is connected to IMF, you're not gonna get the seal in your money any
No.
longer because they
But
want you to use the one they already printed in
but
dollars.
here's my question to us all, right? Why are we looking to get a seal by them? Like, why don't we create our own seal?
Because your government is what I call puppet system.
Sold out.
The government is a system where before you become a part of ruling class in Africa, you have to bow down.
Yep.
Either you go to Chatham House or you go to Washington D.C.
Yep.
to bow down, and then you will be vetted, and they look at your background if you are positive where it comes to
Wow.
This
what
is
they
true.
promote.
Yeah, I know.
The same thing exists in science. The same thing exists amongst us technologists. When you are not promoting their system, they don't give you money. They take the money away from you. They wait for you to get frustrated, and then you sell the technology back to them.
Oh, I
So
know
it's
that.
everywhere. So now a group of people like us have recognized what's going on. So what we do is, since we cannot influence and compete with the big companies, we can only empower the masses. Then the masses now, if we empower the masses, then we are empowered because we empower the masses. And
Hmm.
how do we do that? By reaching out to people that have presence in social media, that have direct connection to the masses, who now becomes a part of our community. And whether they are volunteering or they're part of the program or they're part of the open source program, that is how we can grow. Because if we build the solution pertaining to the large language model, which now we're not going to call it large language model, it's going to be low resource language model, which basically is a neural network based kind of deep learning. So what that does is the African youths can now make money by using this algorithm all across Africa. Now they become the best translators for UK, for US. They rely on this for translation because it's much more accurate than whatever that's out there. That's what we are pushing. We need people who have money, people that are connected, people that see that the technology that we are building has nothing to do with the alternative, the other group. Everything we built came from AFA, which is the foundation oracle in African technology base.
Yeah.
It does not have root in, yes, we grew up in the West, but the revelation came from our ancestors because we are looking inside of us. We are looking for a way to solve problems. We realize in cybersecurity there's a whole lot of problem in cybersecurity. And if the system is working, it shouldn't be so much. Therefore, we have to look for alternative. Even the countries like UK, US, they recognize that they are looking for alternative. They recognize we must look for alternative. Let's allow people with new ideas to come in. And that's where we come in now. We are coming in with alternative ideas, And we want to make sure that this thing, everybody knows about it so we can make it pop and it will bring benefit to a whole bunch of people.
Okay, I'm just going to round up now. Based on everything you said, okay, it's a lot of it's above my head because I'm not that technical and technological. So, Underku, thankfully for the interjection. So, so please, just tell our community. You've said it before, but I just want you to repeat it. How do people get involved in this? How do we bring this to be? Because we need to bring your knowledge to the people. So please tell people exactly what they need to do, how they can reach out to you, please.
So the only thing I ask is for you to share the last page so that they can see all the QR code
Okay.
that is there. If they can use those QR code, it would make life easy for us.
Okay.
Number one is if you're interested in the cybersecurity, you want to get the knowledge so you can be empowered. If you want to be a part of the cybersecurity on the job training, where you start small businesses and learn all this knowledge to even work for other bigger companies and get paid the money that you need to take care of yourself and your family and be able to travel, then you have to scan that QR code, the pink one.
Okay.
And these QR codes are safe from hacking, because I know we've had that with QR codes lately. And also, if they are, could you send this page to Oladele so that he can put up on the Imagine Our Cable?
I've got it. So I've got it.
Okay, good.
He's got like the technology that I'm talking about is used in all our websites. So
Okay.
the first one will take you to our website, Each1Teach1 Tech, where everything is encrypted. Everything there is encrypted end to end. Okay. So it's just a story for another day. Let's move forward. Like if you feel like you understand what we are talking about, to preserve the integrity of African language and maintain the authenticity of the spoken language, which transfers to our culture itself as a whole, then join us on Slack to be a part of the open source project where we do the artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. You will learn the strategies in coming up with the deep learning using a neural network, which mimics the brain, and how that works very well with African languages. And you will be shocked and baffled that you didn't learn this from Stanford or Berkeley, but this is just ancestral knowledge.
Fantastic.
Okay, so
Thank
you
you.
have to scan that light green QR code to be a part of that. And the sooner we get a lot more people that have knowledge and those without knowledge, skill unskilled, then we can move forward to start building the stuff. We have the infrastructure to build these things, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Thank you. Brilliant.
Now, the last one will be the book that we have for those of you that will choose the first option to be trained in the cybersecurity program. And I would recommend that you get the book too. It will encourage you. It's a self-help book. It will encourage you and motivate you to do more for yourself. This is how you can be a part of it. And on the website, for those who are hoping to get trained, we also have option for corporate to sponsor these individuals. We have also option for individuals to sponsor other individuals. For instance, some of our cohort is run in like 15% per cohort. So some of our cohort is around 15% for our cohort for 1 month. So individual pay $137 per month to learn. Then a person can pay for those 15 individuals for a whole month. It's just $2,000. He pays for them, and those 15 individuals will be in the cohort and they will learn. And after 6 months, they keep learning, they can get a good job. It doesn't matter where they live. If they live in UK, Canada, US, whatever, Africa, and all that kind of stuff, they will get a job. So these are some of the ways you can participate and be a part of it. We want you to tell a whole lot of people about the program. We also need instructors to be a part of it, because the more cohort we have, the more instructors that we need, especially in the continent. And that's how people can be a part of it.
Thank you very
There's
much.
donation on the page. When you go, we are also a 501c registered apprentice in the United States. We have approval from the state that we're from to raise money in the public, as long as the public are aware of the the state of origin. Okay, so
Okay.
you can donate. These are some of the ways you can help our work. I am a serial entrepreneur. I founded two other companies. The current company that I'm working with is called Cyberlocks. You can check it online. We are providing solutions to small and medium-sized businesses where it comes to cybersecurity. We're ensuring that they have the privacy and security while simplifying their cybersecurity needs. There's no organization in the world that offers services to small and medium-sized businesses in cybersecurity. They don't do it because they have no resources. But we have the right technology to build the right solution
Okay,
for the.
Josiah, sorry. A quick question there. It said, "Does your book deal with machine learning?" That's from the audio. Can you see that?
So the book I wrote is what we call a self-help book for those that will be engaging in cybersecurity job training. We call it SOC, Operating System Level One Analyst. Is for them and them only. So if you are coming from IT, cybersecurity, or you're coming from a different career field altogether, this is for you. You need that. However, we have over 17 programs that we wrote that includes artificial intelligence and machine learning, which we have not published with the Department of Labor as yet. So once we publish that, it will now become a part of our program as well. Thank you, Dr.
Okay,
O.
there's one question there actually, and I'm gonna round up. Give me a second. Somebody asked a question earlier about the CrowdStrike
CrowdStrike.
outage. Yeah,
Yeah.
where is it? Is it right from the It was at the beginning, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So what question did they answer about CrowdStrike?
They were asking whether we were talking about it. So just speak on it.
Well, we talked about the CrowdStrike that those brouhaha event opens the door of opportunity for our community to learn this new knowledge and become a part of the solution. CrowdStrike pushed the wrong update, which caused Microsoft operating system to have the blue screen of death. That's what it caused, and and that could have been avoided, but it wasn't avoided. But for us, it's a window of opportunity for us to get into this space.
Okay.
But could you not teach them how to avoid it, please? Could you please not teach them how to avoid it?
Well,
Because then you're equipping them, and we need to be using that skill to build a defense mechanism. Like, seriously, we need an army on our end. So please do not equip them with our skills of building our army.
but the knowledge, but the knowledge cannot be hidden if you have good intention for it,
But they
because
don't have
knowledge.
good intention. They don't have good
But we
intention.
do. There's nothing they can do. Their time is out. So don't worry about too
Okay,
much
guys,
about
let's round this up first. Sorry, guys. Josiah, just to round up, I need to ask you a question, please. Our last guest actually left a question for you,
Mm.
and the question they left for you is, I would like to answer the question. Also, I need you to leave a question for the next guest for us, please. So the question they asked you is, are you living your life purpose?
it. If I'm living my life in purpose,
I
Your
said, are
life's
you are
purpose.
you living your life purpose?
oh yeah,
That's
of
the
course, I'm living my life purpose. I have a calling to do what I do, and I know I recognize my calling, and I follow through it. And my life is one that would bring a lot of comfort to many people. And the knowledge of the ancestors contributes a whole lot in simplifying the intricate nature of what I must do here. So this is what I'm doing. I represent technology from the past. I'm bringing it to the currency, and I'm using the knowledge, old ancient knowledge, to make these things happen. I understand the Afa, which is the biggest oracle within the continent of Africa, which was translated into different things like Ifa and all that kind of stuff. I understand it to be the deepest artificial intelligence that anyone could ever have. Okay, so I understand it deeply. So my life is lived with purpose and goodwill.
brilliant. I love that.
Let
Okay.
me.
Can you leave a
I
question?
I almost answered the question for him because he spent the last almost hour and a half speaking about his purpose.
He's already doing that, isn't he?
I was like, the whole session was
Josiah.
about his purpose.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, Josiah, can you please leave a question for our next guest, please? What would you like to ask our next guest?
So what I would like to ask our next guest is, what are they doing to promote people like us in the technology space who are using their ancestral knowledge in the right way, who
Hmm.
understand the importance of it? What are they doing to convince our people to support our effort?
Mm,
Yes. What is anyone doing to support people like us that have spent a lot of money in developing technology that's pretty much Afrocentric?
I love that. Thank you. We'll put it out there. Thank you very much. Unduku, any questions from you, sis, before we go?
Check the chat quickly because I'm writing down that question.
Okay, I'm just looking if there's any
What
other
is
questions.
anyone doing to support Wana Ubuntu, which is us,
Yeah.
to develop what technology? What are you calling?
Indigenous technology.
But indigenous to us. So Ubuntu technology. But let's not
Whichever
call it
way
that.
you want to put it, as long as they understand that this is a technology that's not borrowing from the school of thought that's outside the continent.
Indigenous.
It's just coming from the ancestral knowledge of the ancestors, ancient wisdom.
And just so that we are clear, let me just say this quickly, because there is a white-facing company called Ubuntu. Ubuntu is not their way. No matter how many times they steal our words, they'll not be theirs. Disney could not be Hakuna Matata, no matter how many times they had those animals saying Hakuna Matata. It's not theirs. It is still ours. So if we say Ubuntu technology, for those of you who are in our session today, and if you didn't attend that session, I urge you to go and listen to the recording. Mama Kanyisile explained Ubuntu is our common African spirituality. So it is our way. It is the way we interact with the earth, we interact with our creator, the deities, and the whole ecosystem. And therefore, because clearly, through evidence in history, we interact with what surrounds us differently from the Mzungu cannot have the Ubuntu way.
Thank you. Thanks for summing it up.
Make it very clear.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, what I'd like to say is we need you to share this clip, this video. We're on YouTube. Emerging Akabelan, Kumbukeni. There's a YouTube channel there. We're on there. Please share this to people. We need to share this. We need to get this out there. Josiah has spent time developing and sharing the knowledge with us. And we need to reach out to people to actually get this out there. Because basically, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about Ubuntu here. I am because you are because I am. Basically, indigenous knowledge that needs to be shared. We need to do the work. And this is what we need to do because a lot of us shy away from doing the work. So, guys, let's share the channels. We're on LinkedIn. You know where we are. You linked up with YouTube, Kumbukeni, Emerging Akabelan. Let's share these videos. Let's get out there so people can actually understand and get exactly what Josiah's saying and what he's doing. I brought this guy up because obviously I've been following him for a while.
We need a closed session.
Yeah, so we're probably going to do that. So I've been following him for a while, and one of his guys reached out to me. And when we bring a guest on, it's about decolonizing our minds and doing something that's going to empower us, and that's what we're all about. We don't bring anybody on this channel frivolously for the sake of bringing them on. We bring them on because we know they can add value to our Akabelan community. So once again, guys, thanks for being part of this. I've really enjoyed it, even though it's technical. Some of it's flown over my head. But thankfully, Unduku is she understands more than I do. But yeah, you know what? I got the gist of it, guys. So
thank you so much, Josiah. What you shared today is invaluable. And I look forward to the closed session because there are many questions and many requests to actually make of you. Yeah. So yes, thank you so much. And thank your son for being patient with you.
Okay, thank you very much for following us. We'll be back in the next couple of weeks with that will be the 20 African Queens. We're going historical in the next couple of weeks. So we're looking forward to that. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, don't forget to say, Oladele, that this coming week before Friday, we're going to have a session with Mama Kanyisile to speak about her visit to Burkina Faso, and she can tell us about Traore and all that.
So you heard that, guys. Mama Kanyisile, our own Mama Kanyisile met with Ibrahim Traore. I don't know if you guys follow us on LinkedIn. I put a video out there. This guy is powerful and insightful. Mama Kanyisile has been to Burkina Faso. She had an audience with him, and she's going to talk about the visit. So for those who have been asking me about feedback in terms of the visit, this is your chance to actually be part of the community and actually listen to what Mama Kanyisile said and what the feedback she got back.
I wanted to share something before you guys go.
Okay.
So the one more request is, if you are on LinkedIn and you're a professional in tech or anything like that, please connect with me. I share a lot of stuff on LinkedIn you can benefit from.
So you can see Josiah's name there. Josiah Umezurike. Yeah, that's his name. So reach out to him on LinkedIn.
I have a lot of stuff.
Each1Teach1 as well. That's him as well.
Yep. I have a lot of stuff on LinkedIn you can benefit. I always come from the African perspective. whatever discussion, I show a path to a success for anything that had to do with our group of people. That's it.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much, my
guys.
brother. And thank you, everybody, for joining this session. And we'll see you soon.
All right. Take care, y'all. Bye bye.